The sell-on clause is arguably one of the most important clauses in a football transfer agreement. In fact, I believe the sell-on clause is the most important commercial clause in a football transfer agreement involving sides at different ends of the ladder. In this video, I'm going to explain all you need to know regarding the sell-on clause. Now, what is a sell-on clause? A sell-on clause is essentially a revenue participation scheme. What parties are saying here is that the selling club will be entitled to a percentage of the future transfer fees which the buying club will realize from the sale of the player. The sell-on clause, despite all its beauty, has its own limitations. It's a mere revenue participation scheme, which means if there are no revenues, you will not receive any money. You are set out to sink and sell with the club, which means if the club makes money, you make money. If the club doesn't make money from the sale of the player, there's nothing for you. Most times, at the time when these transfers take place, interests may align. The club approaches you, tells you, we do not have funds for transfer fees. We're in financial distress. We're going to give you 40% sell-on. We're going to give you 30% sell-on. You agree, you're happy, you're hopeful. This is a player who you spent thousands of euros training, raising. This is a player whom you've invested heavily on. And the club takes the player. A year down the line, there's a conflict. The club has a new coach. The coach falls out of favor with your player. Parties enter into a mutual termination agreement. Sometimes it could be a unilateral termination. Sometimes the club could end up selling your player for free just to reduce their wage burden. The sell-on fees are not guaranteed. Now that we've understood the obvious weaknesses of the sell-on clause, I'll give you two approaches some selling clubs employ to protect their interest in a sell-on clause. Now, these are the two approaches. We call these approaches the carrot and stick approaches. Now, I'm going to talk about the carrot approach. The carrot approach is that approach that recognizes FIFA's regulations on third-party interference. It recognizes that clubs should not interfere in the way and manner in which the other clubs run their affairs. It recognizes that clubs should run their affairs independently. So you do not want to interfere in the way and manner in which the other club will run its affairs. So what you're essentially doing is to incentivize the buying club and all parties involved in that transfer to sell the player so that you will be able to receive your sell-on fees. Then what do? You have to incentivize the player to ensure that this player does not run down his contract. What do? You're telling the player, if you are transferred by this club for a fee, I'm going to give you 30% of any amount which I will receive from your club for your transfer. This sort of clause is permissible and does not breach FIFA's rules against third-party interference. The selling club could also seek to incentivize the buying club by agreeing to reduce its sell-on percentage if the player records certain number of appearances over a certain period. The selling club could say, if the player records 10 appearances, 20 appearances within the course of a season, I will reduce my sell-on percentage from 30% to 25%, or I will reduce it from 30% to 20%. These appearances may increase the player's market valuation, or will increase the player's market valuation, and also increase his sale prospects, which would mean more money for all the parties involved in the deal. The selling club could also seek to incentivize the buying club into selling the player. There are many ways the selling club can incentivize the buying club. The selling club can say, I'm going to assign you the right to receive 10%, 20% of solidarity contributions which will be due to our club in the future, if you sell this player for his right market valuation within 1 year of his transfer to your club. Now, with the stick approach, what the selling club is essentially saying is that you must sell this player. If you do not sell this player for X amount of money or for his right market valuation, you're going to pay me penalty of X amount. Now, this clause, while it breaches FIFA's articles or rules against third-party interference, if there is a default, that is, if the buying club fails to sell this player and the selling club takes the matter to the player status chamber of FIFA, the player status chamber of FIFA will most likely enforce the terms of this agreement. However, FIFA's disciplinary committee will sanction all the parties involved in the deal because the agreement breaches FIFA's rules against third-party interference. Now the ball is in your court. You can choose whichever approach you want. You could choose the carrot approach or the stick approach. You could choose the silver or the lead.